All right. This is pretty simple.
Yeah.
Um.
Let's start
All
with
right.
we'll start with the first question. Who is Detective Kirsten?
I am the General of Police and the detective for Gorka Police Department over on Altair Hill.
Okay.
We used to live here in Gorka. Well, we used to live in Gorka until the undead ran over and took over the police station. Now we reside on top of Altair. We had to build a new station. It's just not worth saving over there.
Gotcha.
But me, I'm just out here to try and make a difference, for the better. I don't see myself as I don't know, I don't know how to explain. I don't see myself as a leader, but everybody put me in this position, so that's what I'm here doing.
Gotcha. And this position is you have jurisdiction over the entire island per the government. Is that correct?
Yes. We are currently overseeing all of Chernarus under government eye. They make sure that we are at all times, we have a system of checks and balances in place to make sure that if we mess up in any way, we are not allowed to be in the department. So.
Gotcha. And how many people are in the department?
Currently, let me look at my list real quick. We have, oh boy, we have 12 in the department currently.
Oh, that's pretty substantial. That's pretty good. Is
Mhm.
there a lot of full-time there, or mostly part-time?
It's mostly part-time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean by part-time I mean that they have jobs out of town, so
Right.
they can't be here all the time. But I the job itself is full-time, so we can't have anybody be another part of another faction. There's a conflict of interest that happens there, because we do have particular access to police items that others may not be able to get a hold of.
Well,
So
that's interesting. So what you're saying is, if you become a police officer, you can only be a police officer. You can't be part of
correct.
another group.
Correct.
Gotcha. Well, that brings us right in. That brings us right into this venture. You've recently become owner operator of the Rooftop Bar.
Right.
How is that?
Any different?
Yeah.
How is that any different? Well, the thing with this is that I'm not going to be storing any of my stuff here or putting owning any property over here.
Okay.
And that seems to be the main issue with people who come in from other factions. They want to have their own car or their own vehicle, their own items to store at base, and so on and so forth.
Gotcha.
Since I'm not doing any of that with this this bar, this is kind of permitted.
Gotcha. So not owner operator, more just operator of the bar, not no ownerships. People can
Right.
Rest assured, you're not placing down ownership roots of a specific area. I think some people might say,
Right.
This place isn't going to get special treatment by the police now that you're operating a bar here.
Absolutely not. If anything, this just allows me to interact with the people of Chernarus a little bit better.
Gotcha. Speaking of people of Chernarus and this town specifically, I've noticed the collective is here. Collective, I guess, owns this bar. I haven't been here very long. What is the jurisdiction and the balance between the collective's guards, I guess, or collective rule over this town and the police department? How is that balanced?
I haven't run into an issue with it yet. I believe that they do a pretty good job of defending anybody that's on their property from any outside force or undead. Um, and I hope that they continue to do that. But as far as any kind of crime happening here or something that we could handle or we should handle, like taking somebody to jail for a crime that they've committed, or we see somebody that needs or is wanted, or any of the above like that, then obviously we would step in and take care of the situation.
Okay.
They don't claim to have jurisdiction over everything here, and that we haven't run into an issue like that yet. So
Okay.
I would have to talk to them more on that, but
Gotcha. No,
it hasn't been an issue.
that sounds good. So they do bow to the authority of the government police department as far as jurisdiction goes.
Bow is a strong word, but I think that they respect what we've got going on for sure.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like states' rights versus federal rights. One has jurisdiction over the other.
I think that they're very aware that they themselves can get in any trouble if any kind of trouble comes about. So they are very understanding that they're in the same position as anybody else that walks into this area.
Gotcha. Well, it sounds like you've got your hands full. I said you said you're general over the police department. You got your hands pretty full with this position. What made you want to branch out to this to the
Well, to be honest, it's kind of nice to just get to sit down and talk to everybody, and that's mostly what I'm doing with my job currently, is just driving from place to place, doing patrols and just trying to talk to people. And if I can get everybody to come here and talk to me, it eliminates about half of my job of patrolling. Because collecting information and a lot of that takes time, especially with driving to location to location. I can cut 2 hours of driving out of my day.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I put a tank of gas in that car probably 5 times a week.
Yeah.
So
you go from talking to mouthy drunks on the streets to mouthy drunks in the bar.
Exactly. You know what? We got to keep them off the street, so we bring them here. That way they can stay here. Yeah.
That brings me to my next subject is, how do you feel like customers are going to feel open enough to let themselves go? People like, myself included, I am a renowned alcoholic, and I love
renowned alcoholic.
Oh yeah, I have lost my cookies up here on this very carpet a few times already. And do you feel like people will be comfortable enough to let loose, knowing that the detective is watching them at all times up here?
I think it's going to be quite interesting, but I don't think it's going to deter anybody, because people like to cause trouble when they know somebody's watching, unfortunately. It's I think that it's going to bring about some people who want to tell me some things about what's going on.
Yeah.
It's going to give people a safe space to be able to do that. And also, I think that there's obviously going to be some people who aren't exactly going to be too happy about it, and they might not want to be here, but you know what? They're missing out, right?
Yeah.
If they can't be around a detective, then obviously they're doing something wrong, so they get to miss out.
Well, that's that perfect lead. So will you be able to hang up one hat for another? Or if somebody does do something a little out of line on this rooftop bar, does the police hat get picked up immediately? Or is it more like, right now I'm the operator here, but if I catch you outside of this bar, then we might have a different conversation? Or is it that you're police officer 24/7?
I think I'm going to respect this bar as a safe space, and then if I catch you outside this bar, if you admit to me something that's not exactly the nicest of things you should be doing, or if you admit to me something you've been doing something illegal, obviously I'm not going to probably take action when you're here at this bar. You might be a little drunk, who knows? You could be telling a story that's not even true.
Gotcha.
But I think that I won't handle up on that at that point because it would scare my patrons away, and it's better just to collect information.
Yeah.
All I can say is that yes, I am a detective, but I'm also here for a good time, and you can be too.
Awesome. Awesome. I think that's a great
Mhm.
message. And uh, to kind of close out the interview here, is that the message you're wanting to put out there? Or if you had a single message you wanted, to project to the public, because I am going to be writing up an article on this.
Mhm.
We'll be
A
posting the
single
interview.
message.
Is there
Mhm.
a message you would like to put out there for the people of Chernarus to advertise both the bar and your commitment to them, both as a police officer and an operator of the bar?
Okay. I would like to provide a place for all of Chernarus to come be social, hang out, make friends, and feel safe. Now, that's also provided that these patrons want to make this a place to be safe. That's on them too. So, I'm counting on the people of Chernarus to, you know, I don't know if that's exactly the message I want to spread, but you get what I'm saying here. Is I hope people have a maturity level that is, um, you know, that we wish they could have
Yep.
around here. So, for
Everybody
a
gets
message,
everybody gets a level everybody gets a level of respect when you walk in the door, and
yeah,
what you do with that respect is up to you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the fact that we are ignoring the indifferences of every single person when they walk through the door of this bar, so that they can socialize and have fun and have a good time and get to meet people.
Awesome.
Then this is the spot. Let's make it happen. I'm excited to see it happen.
So
I'll be here for it.
what will your hours of operation be? What times are you planning to be open?
Oh, generally, I think my hours of operation. Now, am I supposed to give the CST? I'm CST, so I would say hours of operation for the bar are generally around 3 p.m. CST to 11:30 CST, and that just I would uh, put a little message on there and say these times may vary wildly because it depends on if somebody's being robbed at gunpoint. If I have to put on my hat and head out,
So
it's
that's a good question there. So how will this affect your rounds with the police department? Because I'm assuming you have specific hours that you've been operating. Are you going to
right.
be? Is this going to be priority one, or is the police department going to be priority one?
I think I'm going to maintain a healthy balance of both. If this place isn't busy or if there's nobody here, obviously I might pop my hat on and go for patrol. It depends on how many people are awake at the time, but I think that the more I'm here, the more people will come about and find this as a social spot for interactions and all of that. But if they're as far as patrolling, I've got other officers who are willing to do that, and I'd love for them to come hang out here as well. Just as I said, anybody that walks through this door is a friend.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
if we're all here and we decide, hey, let's go out on patrol, we'll go out on patrol. We'll say back in 30 or something, on the door.
Gotcha.